to Werezilla's Retrospective. I'm your host, Werezilla. Ridley Scott's Alien is considered to be one of the best entries in the horror genre, and it's not difficult to see why.
Alien took what was a very different approach to horror films at that time by having it take place in space. The design of the creature is genuinely creepy, and the ship gives an enclosed feeling about the movie, leaving the characters stuck with, quite literally, nowhere to go. The second film, Aliens, continued the story, raised the stakes by including an entire hive of aliens, and more importantly, including likable characters.
And believe me, that's an important factor if you want someone to care about what's happening in your movie. And that rings especially true for its sequel.
No, not Aliens. I'm talking about Alien 3. In concept, the aliens attacking Earth with Ripley, Hicks, Newt facing off against aliens with their own homeworld at stake is a great idea. That is, if that was actually the plot of this film. Despite what the trailer of the movie said back in 1992, there is not a single scene in this movie that takes place on Earth, or even the planet where the alien ship was on in the last movie.
When your trailer is less accurate than Highlander Endgame's trailer, that's usually not a good sign.
We open on board the Sulaco, the escape ship from the last movie where, okay, seriously? They just nuked a whole swarm of aliens, and after fighting off the alien queen they managed to stow away on board, they didn't check to see if there were any more stragglers? Anyway, the egg hatches, and a facehugger tries to get into Newt's cryotube, which causes the ship to crash land on the planet Florina 161. So people and their dog arrive at the crash site where they find our heroes hurt and unconscious, but alive.
One of them's still alive!
Wait a minute, just Ripley? But Newt and Hicks are in there too. You are gonna get them out and nurse them back to health, right? And I'm pretty sure Bishop could use some repairs while he's at it as well. You are gonna do that, right? Right?
Oh my god, you can't be serious! They didn't survive? Even Bishop? A robot that can be turned on and off is beyond repair? Is this really their attempt to create a new status quo? It was completely ineffective in Headmasters when they destroyed Cybertron, and it's completely ineffective here!
Not only is this an absolutely terrible way to make Ripley alone again to restart the series, but it's a waste of the three characters and making everything that happened in the last movie pointless. Especially when you consider the comic books that take place after the events of Aliens, where Newt and Hicks are fighting aliens on Earth many years later.
Honestly, who kills off main characters so early on in a movie, book, or game off screen? Oh, right. We quickly learn this planet is a prison colony, and the warden tells the prisoners about Ripley, and that the company will pick her up in a week. The doctor, Clemens, talks to Ripley as she wakes up and tells her the bad news.
Where are the others?
They didn't make it.
What?
Exactly! What? Ripley is of course gobsmacked and demands to see the shipwreck, clothes or not. If I were her, I'd at least get some pants first, but that's just me. She sees the escape ship and is told this lovely story.
The corporal was impaled by that safety support. Never knew what hit him.
And the girl.
She drowned in her cryotube. I don't think she was conscious when it happened. I'm sorry.
I assume all of you who are watching this review are smarter than the characters in the film. So I'm going to ask you an honest question. Does this look like she was unconscious at the time of her death?
There's a droid.
Disconnected. There were bits and pieces of him all over the place.
So is all of Ridley Scott and James Cameron's hard work in the last films. Ripley sees a familiar alien acid mark on Newt's cryotube and immediately wants to see Newt's body. Oh, and the dog from earlier has officially become dog meat as a second facehugger attaches itself to the poor thing. We are promptly brought to the morgue where Ripley gets to see Newt's body, looking as horrified as I am.
Requiescat in pace.
Ripley wants an autopsy, but instead of giving her actual reasons, she believes that Newt might cause cholera to be spread among the inmates. Cholera, which can only be transmitted through food and water, not corpses. Hell, stomach acid will dissolve it away.
Besides, the Alien movies take place in the 22nd century. Didn't Star Trek already establish that disease was going to be non-existent by then?
It is one of the pivotal moments in human history, Doc.
Poverty, disease, war, they'll all be gone within the next 50 years.
So they perform the autopsy with the sounds of flesh ripping and bone cracking, blood leaking down the sink, and finally we get to see Newt's open chest, lungs, organs, and all. We get it! She's dead! Stop rubbing it in my face! The warden chews out Clemens for performing the autopsy without his knowledge, but apparently he's a moron too, as the warden agrees to cremate Newt and Hicks to prevent the impossible disease from spreading. The warden promptly tells Ripley that she should not interact with the prisoners, all of whom, having despite picked up religion and celibacy, are still killers. Why do I get the feeling Ripley won't listen? During the funeral, the main prisoner, Dylan, delivers a rather touching speech that ironically asks all the questions I asked concerning Newt and Hicks' deaths.
Why? Why are the innocent punished? Why the sacrifice? Why the pain? There aren't any promises. Nothing's certain. Only that some get called, some get saved. She won't ever know the hardship and grief for those of us left behind. We commit these bodies to the void with a glad heart. For within each seed, there is a promise of a flower. And within each death, no matter how small, there's always a new life. A new beginning. Amen.
Oh, and while all of this was going on, the dog that got face hugged gives birth to the alien. Heartwarming.
Understandably, I didn't care for this scene the first time I watched it.
Say, remember when the warden warned Ripley to stay away from the prisoners for her own good to prevent them from going crazy? Well, she doesn't, as she promptly shaves her head for some reason, and goes to have lunch with them. I thought Ripley was smart, not a dumbass.
I just wanted to say thanks for what you said at the funeral. It was, my friends would have appreciated it.
Yeah, well, you don't want to know me, lady. I'm a murderer and rapist of women.
Wait, in that order? You might want to burn the rest of the bodies in the morgue while you're at it. Dylan explains that the prisoners have taken up religion for years, but having Ripley around might cause them to bring out their old murderous ways. Meanwhile, a red-shirt prisoner is cleaning a giant tube with a huge spinning fan. Why did he feel it was necessary to clean this area? Why would the fan still be spinning when someone's in the tube? Why, so the alien can kill him, of course. Well, actually, the alien doesn't really kill him. Rather, he offs himself by getting startled and falling down the tunnel, getting shredded by the fan.
So basically we have had 4 deaths so far in this movie, and the alien has caused none of them. This movie's gonna have a higher body count than its own monster, isn't it?
As Clemens goes to investigate the red shirt's death, Ripley sneaks into the dump to find Bishop's remains. Wait a minute, the last time we saw Bishop in Aliens, he was bisected from the waist down when the alien queen stabbed him, not from the shoulders. Yeah, they said he was in pieces, but even that contradicts what we see here. When I think of robot in pieces, I think gears, wires, and pieces of mangled metal, not a half-melted bust of Lance Henderson. Before Ripley can leave, a bunch of prisoners show up and assault Ripley. More prisoners have attacked Ripley than aliens! This movie should have been called Assault of the Necrophiliacs. Thankfully, Dylan saves Ripley by deciding to re-educate the prisoners. And by re-educate, I mean beat the shit out of them with a shovel. Anyway, the alien attacks 3 more red shirts, as if to remind us that we're watching an alien movie. I still don't care.
There's a good reason why I keep calling them red shirts. There's nothing interesting or distinct about any of them. except for maybe Clemens and Dylan. As for everyone else, they're all the same bald jackass. Or should I say, disposable bald jackass.
Ripley manages to get Bishop back online in about 3 seconds. So much for that whole damage beyond repair thing.
Wait a minute. Bishop's not dead? No, right. It's about time we get a familiar character that can lift up this movie from its Z-grade status.
Bishop reports that indeed there was an alien on the ship. However, he also asks to be shut down because he'll never be top of the line. Wait, what? Since when did that matter to Bishop? He actually joked about being bisected a minute ago.
My legs hurt.
I get the feeling Lance Henderson is just ad-libbing here and wanted out of this movie as fast as possible. And I don't blame him.
And if that is the case, then that probably explains his character's death in Alien vs. Predator. Which, as we'll find out in this movie, is a plot hole in that one.